Thanks, Gray. Thanks for the welcome and thanks for coming along. Today you're going to hear a lot about from gold and lithium stocks, but probably not too much about rare earths. So I guess for those that are unfamiliar with rare earths, I've heard people refer to it and compare it to lithium. And if you think about lithium, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, people were a bit unsure in the market, a bit unloved, and you've seen where that's gone over the last 5 years. So rare earths is probably back, 5 or 6 years ago, and their journey's still coming. So Travis Binky, CEO of Australian Rare Earths, joined the company back in June this year after spending the last 5 or 6 years at Oz Minerals, South Australian copper miner that got acquired by BHP earlier this year. At Australian Rare Earths, we're leading the development of clay-hosted deposits here in Australia. Our flagship project, Copper was only discovered 3 years ago. Since listing just over 2 years ago, we've defined a significant resource with multi-generational potential, with the first ionic clay deposit here in Australia to produce a mixed rare earth carbonate. We have an established MOU for an offtake with Neo Performance Materials, one of the very few Western companies that have downstream processing capability outside of China. And we've built a management team and board that has extensive skills and complementary skills at that to create a valuable rare earth business. Just the usual disclaimer. Today I'm going to touch on, 3 key elements of AR3's value proposition. Firstly, the market. The long-term outlook for rare earth market is robust. Rare earths are a critical material for the energy transition. They're the key metal that goes into rare earth permanent magnets, critical for electric vehicles and wind turbines. Secondly, our Copper flagship project has the potential to be a multi-generational rare earth province supplying light and heavy rare earths into the market for decades. Thirdly, we're growth focused. We believe we've got significant upside and optionality with our Copper project, but also that we've built a unique set of skills within the team to rapidly assess other ionic clay projects in Australia, and we'll use that advantage to build a portfolio of early stage exploration projects for scale and optionality. So just quickly, the company at a glance, our flagship project, Copper is located in the southeast of South Australia. We've also acquired some early stage exploration projects in North Queensland, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. We're well funded with 12 million in cash. We've got an experienced board consisting of significant rare earth experience, geologists, chemical engineer, investment banking and government expertise, all key skills to take a rare earth project into development. Just on the market, the demand for rare earths is going to be driven by the global decarbonisation efforts that we're seeing throughout the globe today. Rare earths are critical for the magnets that drive the efficient motors of electric vehicles and wind turbines. They're also important and growing in their applications in both defence and robotics. And the forecast that we see for rare earth oxide magnet demand, we see that growing from around 100,000 tonnes a year at the moment through to well over 300,000 tonnes by 2040. From a supply perspective, rare earths mines and downstream separation capacity is highly concentrated, with China dominating the market today. Currently, over 65% of the rare earth mine production and over 90% of the downstream processing production is located in China. Governments and OEMs around the world have certainly identified the need to establish alternate supply chains of rare earths, and we believe that many projects like Copper will be needed to come into production over the coming decades. So a little more on our Copper project. So, as I said, located in the southeast of South Australia, we have over 6,000 square kilometres of prospective tenure, expanding some 200 kilometres north to south. The setting for our rare earth deposit is clay over a shallow limestone. That limestone setting is extensive throughout the region. What this means is the deposit is typically less than 10 metres depth, allowing for fast, low-cost exploration and ultimately into mining. We believe there's significant upside and optionality through our opportunity to continue to grow the resource, given that it's currently open both north and south from the current 186 million tonnes we have. So we've drilled a little over 56,000 metres since 2021. Currently we've got a 186 million tonne resource at a little over 700 ppm. Over half of that's in the indicated JORC category. The resource currently as defined sits on a very small part of our tenure at just over 2% coverage. Importantly, our deposit contains all 4 rare earth elements required for magnet production, including the strategically important heavy rare earths, dysprosium and terbium. New supply of heavy rare earths are strategically important as today essentially all of the production comes out of mines in China and Myanmar, whereas today you do have alternate sources of light rare earths with mines here in Australia and the US. I guess with the significant resource we have, we've also got a large exploration target where we've been able to do some roadside drilling. That's an exploration target of up to 3.1 billion tonnes, and that 3.1 billion tonnes sits on only 20% of our total tenure. So the charts here on the screen, you can see as we continue to drill, we continue to get more and more confidence in our ability to define a multi-generational province as we continue to drill that clay over shallow limestone. Last month we recommenced the drilling campaign of some 30,000 metres over the next 12 months. This will allow us to continue to expand the exploration target and also infill drilling for additional mineral resource growth, which will help inform our development plans as we continue our studies. This will allow for additional market updates on the resource and exploration target throughout next year. From flowsheet development, I think one of the important differences that's worth making is with rare earth clay deposits versus hard rock deposits is the difference between capital and operating costs. So some of the hard rock projects you see around the world and here in Australia, typically they require typical mining, so drill and blast, a lot of crushing and extensive processing to extract the rare earth elements from the deposit. The clay deposits have the advantage in that there's no drill and blast, it's relatively shallow, relatively simple flow sheet. So as far as hard rock deposits go, they can be north of $1 billion to bring into production, whereas the clay-hosted deposits would be an order of magnitude less from a capital perspective. So it allows you to start small, scale, and build from there. We've got extensive expertise on the team working on our flow sheet development. We're the first Australian ionic clay deposit to produce a mixed rare earth carbonate, the product that would be sold to customers. We're also the only ionic clay deposit here in Australia that has an MOU with Neo Performance Materials for an offtake agreement. Neo are one of the only current companies that can process these rare earth oxides outside of China. From a sustainability point of view, we're committed to developing a sustainable future, not only with the product that we will mine, but the way we'll do it. So our projects will be designed from the outset to minimise environmental footprint. We've been working really closely with the community to build trust and transparency to demonstrate that value can be created by us being there and mining. Here you see an example of us building that trust with a trial mining pit and rehabilitation program that was conducted or commenced in early 2022. This is a demonstration of what a mining operation would look like in this setting. So The image on the left shows the mining pit with the clay removed, and as you can see, it's quite shallow. The images to the right show how the land's been rehabilitated and handed back to the farmer to continue with their livelihood. So this is one of the things I'm really excited about, the possibility with this project, and the learnings that we'll get from trials like this is really that opportunity to work with farmers throughout the region to understand what opportunities there are for us to potentially improve the soils and hand the land back to them in a more resilient and productive state. Plenty of work to do to work out what that might look like, but certainly a great opportunity. Just quickly on further exploration. So even though Copper, our flagship project that we've got a lot of good knowledge about, really there's still a good 80% of our tenure that's undrilled. So with the consistent nature of the mineralisation in that shallow clay over shallow limestone, we've got confidence that as we continue to drill, we'll be able to continue to expand the resource and grow a significant resource there. Looking a little further afield, so as I mentioned earlier, over the last 3 years we've built a team that has the expertise to evaluate and assess clay-hosted deposits quite rapidly. So we want to bring some more projects into the portfolio. So we're excited about the first cabs off the rank, if you like. We've got some acreage up in northern Queensland, which we think will be highly prospective for ionic clay style of deposits. So once Oakey Valley, Sandy Tate, 40 Mile Scrub, exploration applications are granted, hopefully sometime next year, we'll be able to get on the ground and rapidly assess those for prospectivity. We do have a project a little south to the ones on the previous slide at Dalrymple. We have 3 exploration licenses there already granted. And one of our geologists was up on site only a couple of weeks ago with some initial soil sampling. So we look forward to the results of that work and sharing with you shortly. So just in summary, we're developing a portfolio of clay-hosted rare earth projects really focused on creating value. That's going to be underpinned by the compelling long-term market for rare earths, the potential for a multi-generational rare earth province at Copper, and also by adding early stage exploration growth options into the portfolio with optionality and scale to come. So thanks for your time.